This tweet helps you understand why it is that companies like Chick-fil-A get woke. He says, this is serious. Anthony Bass is a professing Christian. He shared a post supporting the Target boycott. Now he's apologizing for hurting the Pride community, and he says he'll better educate himself. He is betraying Jesus and his conscience. Pray for him. I want to play for you this short clip of what he had to say. Here we go.
I recognized yesterday I made a post that was hurtful to the Pride community, which includes friends of mine and close family members of mine, and I am truly sorry for that. I just spoke with my teammates and shared with them my actions yesterday. I apologized with them, and as of right now, I'm using the Blue Jays resources to better educate myself, to make better decisions moving forward. The ballpark is for everybody. We include all fans at the ballpark, and we want to welcome everybody. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
So this is him saying he's going to get re-educated. Like, no joke. He says he's using the resources of the Blue Jays to better educate himself. It's literally like we used to make fun of this. You know, in The Simpsons, they get re-educated.
That's right.
The idea of being forced to undergo a struggle session and re-education, we knew in this country was a sign something was wrong.
But look
this
at that
pathetic coward of a man.
Yes,
this
hat in hand, pathetic. And that's back to what I was talking about with the caving. Conservatives tend to cave.
Yeah.
This guy's. How do you feel, Seamus? He's a Christian.
Yeah, I think he should have stayed strong to his values as a Christian. I mean, I don't know what to say.
I would say he's not a Christian.
Well, I can't say he's not a Christian, but I can say that I don't think a Christian should cave into a mob that's trying to promote sin.
How many times?
Because he has young fans who look up to him.
He's not a Christian. When I was a little kid, I remember I went to Catholic school, and I remember we were learning about religious wars and stuff like that in a very limited sense. But I remember hearing about, like, you know, one religious faction would say convert or else. And then I always thought to myself, I was like, why not just lie? Just say, oh, sure, of course, I hereby convert, so they don't kill you.
Well, that's
but
the thing,
people
but
would
that's fine
say
with them.
no. They would say no.
Exactly.
The fact that this guy, in what, a day, dropped to his knees and begged, please, I'll renounce my entire faith if you just leave me alone. Like, dude, his balls must have shrunk down to the size of marbles and sucked up right into his body.
Three times before the rooster crowed, he denied Christ from the way I heard that.
Yeah, I mean, I'll mention this. When you say that people would say convert or die, and some people would lie about that, I mean, in part, that's... when you ask, like, why not lie? Well, they're okay with you lying. They're okay with you not actually believing, as long as you're willing, to throw your beliefs under the bus. So I definitely hear what you're saying there.
They want you to profess to the world that you give up.
Yes, and I think it's very sad that he did this, and I really hope that he repents. I really hope he repents and turns back to Christ. But
he did.
I also am not going to make a specific claim about his.
He was due to make $3 million in 2023, so that's what he's speaking for the $3 million right now.
It profits a man nothing to give his soul and gain the world in return.
You think that he would have been better if he just stuck to his word and got fired?
Amen. Yeah, absolutely.
You know what?
Because they're persecuting him for the sake of the kingdom. He should embrace it, right?
What is it? It's easier to fit a camel through the eye of a needle.
It's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. Yeah.
And that's exactly why.
But with God, all things are possible. That said, yes, this is one of the reasons.
Exactly why.
That is one of the reasons.
Because this guy would. It's remarkable. But this says to me, this man is not a Christian. For if he truly believed there is nothing on God's green earth that would have him profess to the world a rejection of his faith, unless he did not have it in the first place.
I mean, it's hard. It's also really difficult to speak to whether someone had it in the first place, too. Those aren't claims I can make, but I would say that was not the Christian thing to do, to renounce.
But look, my point is this. Do you think this man truly believes that when he dies, he will be judged?
That action certainly doesn't indicate that he believes that.
That's
I can't tell you what he believes, but the
judgment.
action doesn't indicate he believes.
He doesn't believe he'll be judged. Yeah. He believes that right now in his life, he can say anything for any personal gain. If he is a fake Christian, and this is an issue so many people on the left have had with Christians for a long time. People like him who claim to be Christians who clearly are not.
Well, no, they love Christians who are willing to cave into them. Right, but their whole argument is... What I mean is... No, I get what you're saying. He's very valuable to the left, right?
For me, growing up, so much of the complaints I heard in cities was that there were people who were claimed to be Christian, and then they would be the nastiest, most cutthroat, evil, greedy people you've ever met. And that's exactly what that guy
Christians
is.
give Christians a bad name often. Yeah. And I have an example that's interesting. I haven't really told this. So we originally started with this beer and we announced it. We had worked with a brewery in Illinois, and they had told us initially, I don't think they understood how big this would get. And so initially they said, yes, they would brew the beer for us, yada, yada. Things were proceeding forward. And they let us know that they're very good Christians, that they are concerned about what's happening with all the trans stuff being pushed on kids. They're conservatives. These are things that are important to them. They believed. Well, they believed up until Newsweek called.
Oh.
And then they
What's the name of the brewery?
I pulled that up to make sure I did, because there's another brewery with a similar name. I wanted to make sure. I have not listed this on anything yet, so I'm giving it to you now, the correct one. It is Bent River Brewing Company in Rock Island, Illinois. They were afraid of backlash from the woke mobs because our can, I don't have it right side up, has the word conservative on it. And they bailed on us. So that's part of it. So we're our beer is shipping 30 days out. Oh, I mean, they put out to the media that, as soon as they saw our ad, they disassociated with us, that, more or less we're terrible people. They love everybody. But there are big, strong Christians that cared about trans ideology being pushed on kids in private conversation. And they lied. They said that they stopped working with us as soon as they saw our ad. I've got email communication with them after. So they're scumbags, and they did it under their giant Christian name.
They're not
which
Christians.
is not surprising. I understand. I'm making your point here with these individuals, and it is. I was 0 bit shocked when it happened because that's what I come to expect from these kind of individuals. And fortunately, we found other breweries. Now we got a huge brewery in Florida as well. We've made up for it.
How many true believers do you think there really are on the left?
That's a good question.
They're cognizant of their ideologies and their methods.
I think it's a very small percentage. I think most of them are just going along and getting along.
And that's true of Christians as well.
That's people.
Both,
Yeah.
So when people live in an area that's mostly Christian, they say, oh, of course we are.
Exactly.
Then the moment the left calls, hey, sure, we're left now.
The go along, get along people. I mean, this is what people say when they point out that if you lived in Nazi Germany, you probably would not have been on the right side of that.
These bastards would have turned them over in a freaking heartbeat.
Yeah.
Like they can't even stand up to saying, in a heartbeat. They can't handle pressure from you got some nasty email comments or Facebook comments because someone wants to cut dicks off kids, and you're making a beer for a guy that says, maybe we shouldn't do that. If you can't stand up to that, I don't think you would have done too well with the whole Germany situation.
Yeah. Amen. I mean, there are too many Christians who are willing to sell out their faith, and we don't need more scared Christians.
I'm going to get a lot of crap for this, but I've said this for years, is the evangelical community, there's a part of it that they're out there voting in the primaries and they're hardcore, but the general Christian community as a whole, they preach something on Sunday, but they are the ones that cave. They're some of the absolute weakest individuals when it comes to this. And I'm probably going to get canceled for like the 48th time by saying this, but they continue to cave. And that's, again, kind of what this beer is about, what we're doing. It's encouraging people, we don't have to cave. And I think the whole Bud Light effect that you're talking about, it's conservatives are, for the first time, I feel like, you're using Target as the example. For the first time, I feel like conservatives are like, wow, we have this power. Like, what's this new power? Let's try it out. This is interesting. Because I don't think they really believed they had it prior to Bud Light. Well, I think that's what sold it to them.
Yeah, I think that's true. And there's another element I'll add here, which is that we got to remember that when it comes to Bud Light, Target as well, but more so Bud Light, there are easily accessible competitors. A person doesn't really have to make many significant changes in their life to just buy a different brand of beer. And so that's why conservatives have to realize that those in the movement who would consider themselves leaders, who are go-getters, have to start businesses so that there are competing brands with the big guys, so that when people do have to boycott these companies, they have somewhere else to go.
Man,
because if Bud Light was the only beer brand available, I think things would have gone differently, right? People had other options. It's good that we did. We need to start creating more options.
Matt, I think that greed is a sin? Mm-hmm. Is greed a sin? So, but
one of the seven deadly.
But getting rich is not.
No, getting rich is not necessarily.
So you can be
simple.
a rich Christian, even though they say you can't take your wealth with you. People that seek and grow familial wealth.
No, you can do a lot of good things with money.
Exactly. You can. There's a a rich Christian surely has to live differently than a rich pagan, right? A rich Christian has to do more with their money to support the church, to support the poor, to help others, and to use
Elon
it.
Musk has done a lot for this country with his wealth. And honestly, here's something I should truly thank Elon Musk. This beer company would not exist without Elon Musk. And I can say that confidently because we got roughly over 45 million views on my Twitter of that ad. That would have never been allowed to happen in the past under previous ownership. And it's also why we didn't get near those kind of views on Facebook or Instagram or anything. They got a lot of views comparatively speaking, but nothing like it did on Twitter now that Elon is kind of taking the chains off.
It feels like
sorry.
the Christ is like blowing up through Elon, like it's bubbling in him, like that Christ energy, the anointed, like he's been, I don't know if he's been anointed by God, what that even means really, but like he's carrying the torch, like he's doing things that will make humanity better off through American ideals. And I don't know what better Christian thing you could do in the modern age.
It's an interesting point. I think I wouldn't describe it that way theologically. However, I do believe the truth is a person, and that person is Jesus Christ. So when somebody is forwarding truth, they are doing something for God in a sense, right? Like they're on the right side.
Dude, I really
maybe not in totality, but maybe not with everything they do, but in that
one is with
particular
everything.
Yeah. But yeah. So
Dude,
my point isn't like anytime anyone does something good, they are now a professing Christian. It's just to say that if you're fighting for truth, then that is a service.
What you guys are saying, Tim, and what you brought up earlier, I think there are so many people that identify as Christians that aren't, and so many people that identify as Jewish that aren't, just because they don't believe in God. If you don't believe, like truly believe it, because I don't know if you have to experience it to believe that it's there, but like we'll say there's like 300 million Christians and probably like 0.00001% of them actually are Christian.
But there's 2.2 billion Christians worldwide,
and like probably like 100,000 of them that are actually Christ-like. Like,
yeah, but you got to remember, I mean, you don't join the church for the other Christians. You join the church for Christ. Like, other Christians are gonna sin. They're gonna be vicious. They're gonna fail to live up to what they should live up to. But so will you. So will all of us, right?
it's important to keep each other honest, like without consuming ourselves. To be like, yo, like you can talk a lot of smack about what that guy's doing wrong, but if you're not living that lifestyle of Christ,
this is what the left gets right. Wielding power, you win.
Yep.
The conservatives, the right, don't.
that's what I think. I feel like the Romans, when they set up Catholicism, they made it so that it
Romans
kept.
did not set up Catholicism.
That's not how it goes.
You don't think so? It wasn't at the Council of Nicaea 70 years after Christ's death. They
No,
put
it was
together?
no. So the Council of Nicaea was a bit after that, and this was not set up. Like, yes, there was Roman involvement, but this is not something the Romans ran. This was the early Christians basically making a number of statements about their beliefs, because at the time of Christ, there were just a lot of grifters who were coming in and making up things that had nothing to do with Christ's teaching. So then the church had to sort this out and go like, okay, what is the actual official canon going to be? What's going to be in the Bible? Like, how are we going to declare our faith, that type of thing. But it was not the Romans who set it up.
What concerns me is the authority of the time that was setting it up made it seem that like weakness is key. Like in order to be a Christian, you have to be weak. You have to be subservient to the authority. And like, no, man, power does control the world. That's what you're saying, Tim. Like the left has understood this, that power leads, and we need that in Christianity.
Well, because so Christians had been persecuted for a good while before the Council of Nicaea, right? Because this is in
Council
the
of Nicaea was
300s.
325.
Yeah, this is in the 300s. So this is not like it is after
I think
Christ's death, but
there
more
were
than
multiple
70.
councils.
Well,
No, the one that
But we'll have an educational religious debate on a different show.
Yeah. I guess my point is just that the Romans did not set up Catholicism. But continue with the point that you were making overall.
That power controls everything.
Yeah,
the
and
left is unafraid, and their ethos and their moral framework is there is no truth but power. And the right is like, let's all just be good stewards of
because
our
Jesus
community.
was like, all right, if you want to kill me, go ahead. And then they killed him. And it's like, no, that's not what you're supposed to do to survive
It's not
on
an
Earth.
accurate summarization.
Well, he was like,
At all.
they came and got him, and he just was like, no, don't stop
How
them. Let them take
how
me.
about you stop shifting the conversation into arguments about
I'm telling
religion?
you why
and-
power is what control. Like,
but you keep shifting it into a way that you know is going to intentionally insult Christians. And
no. But I
that's
think
what
the
you're-
reason
they-
why the right doesn't understand the value of power is because Christianity has been sold to us as if being a serf
is wrong.
is wrong.
No. What you're saying is not correct. Both Seamus and Serge both said, like, hey, this is not correct. And so I said, let's have an educational conversation on religion somewhere else and get back to the conversation about the moral framework of the left. Let's move on from
Mao figured it out. Power is what controls society. Out of the barrel of a gun, I think Mao said. And unless these religious folk start to understand that, I'm afraid that they will always be coming in second.
Well, I think that truth is more important than power, and that's the message here. Truth is far more important than power. It's better to have the truth on your side than to have power on your side.
But who controls the truth is who owns the media.
No, the people, there's a reason we call them liars. Instead of saying, well, the media said it, so it's true.
Yeah, but if you don't know they're lying, then you think it's truth, and then you define it as truth.
You can think something is true, but be wrong about that.
This is the point with the left. The true believers don't care if they're correct. They say 2 + 2 = 5. They've entertained that prospect because when you come out and agree with them, they know they own you. If it's the Star Trek, how many lights are there? You're mistaken. There are 5 lights, right? They come to you and say, what's 2 + 2? You say 4. They say, no, you're wrong. It's 5. Now say it again. What's 2 + 2?
They want to force you to say the lie. I've been saying this for years. They want to force you to say the lie. I refuse to say the lie, regardless of the topic, whether it's how many genders, whatever it is. They just say it, Seth. Just agree.
And people who would rather die than go along with the lie are the biggest threat to the establishment possible, which is why they end up being executed in tyrannical regimes.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.